A lot of the long-lasting and addictive games have had great communities, modding communities. It just shows you how far a game can be taken if the developers just allow the community to go and run with what they gave them. Big brain talking heads like to talk about the neurochemical effects of video games and how it sends dopamine to the brains but I don't know nothing about that. What I do know is that when I pick up some games, it's hard to put some of them down. We all know about the addictive mobile games like a Candy Crush or a Clash of Clans, but there are other games, other console games that really hit us with a stupid beam and keeps us entranced with our consoles, never looking up and never eating, stopping to take a piss and all that other stuff, all the gamer stuff. The game doesn't even have to be that good. As a matter of fact, sometimes after I'm done playing the game, I get like post clarity and I look at myself in disgust and shame as I see what I've just spent 3 hours of my time on and $25 on. Some games are good, but not necessarily addictive. I've never gotten off the bus with the homies just to rush home and get back to solo runs on Mario Kart 64, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean it wasn't a good game. It was a great game. I love that game. However, a lot of console games that fit into the addicting category are also genre-defining games. There's something about these titles that just make it hard to put the sticks down when you pick them up. Take Zelda, for example. The new Zelda games that are out have been nothing but addicting. Breath of the Wild was surprisingly addicting, collecting different flowers, beating shrines, and cooking up some dubious dishes. And whoever was steady hitting that piano riff every once in a while, you really snap me back into reality. The silence really captures you in the game if, they don't snap you out of it with that. Same thing as with the Sonic Frontiers game that came out. But Breath of the Wild, I was hooked. Bad. So bad that when Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was finding myself trying to, get through the opening cutscenes and everything, get as much lore as I could, of course, but still trying to get through those opening cutscenes in the tutorial to investigate and explore the rest of the world. I knew full well that I'd get hooked yet again, but I was more concerned with the next fix of Hyrule open world that I could get. And when I was preparing to go in, I was expecting the Hyrule open world and then the Sky Depths, but then when we actually got in the world and dropped in, there were the depths. So I was hooked on this game before, but now you've improved it and also multiplied the possibilities by 3? Come on now. But if we're talking sheer possibilities, look no further than the real Sandbox, because Sandboxes are inherently addicting if, of course, you have that first interest. Kind of like a slippery slope. And Minecraft, being the king of sandboxes, proved that you don't have to have a game with a strong narrative or even pretty graphics to keep it #1 for a decade plus. That lack of a narrative pretty sure ensures that the player creates their own narrative. And we've seen how far that could go. We've seen how far a community can take that. There's no real narrative, but rather brain-numbing music to keep you entranced in this pixelated, blocky, randomly generated, infinite world. And to top it all off, Mojang drops us a little Christmas gift in the stocking, just a little Christmas gift in the stocking every year to make sure that they know that we know that they haven't forgotten about us. I mean, look at whatever this thing is. And we gotta double back to the symphonies that are Minecraft theme music. They must have hit a stupid beam right in that hole, because that lulls anybody in the 4 hours of lost time. It can just take you out of real life sometimes, but sometimes fake life is more real than real life is real. You know what I mean? You catch my drift? If you didn't catch my drift, yeah, I'm talking Sims. You knew this one was coming. 3 real life hours equals 8 sim days. And a lot can happen in 8 sim days, especially knowing how the modded community takes their games and makes it far from the beaten path of what Sims was supposed to be back in, 2013? If you thought the Sims community was in any way dead after the Sims 4 release in 2014, almost 9 years ago, then you are sorely mistaken. There are coronavirus mods, STI mods, serial killer mods. The self-run Sims community are insatiable addicts working tirelessly day and night to make sure that Sims life is just as miserable as real life. And they're serious about it. The Sims developer is also serious about it too, because why are dogs DLC? Why? We can add all these mods in there that do these crazy things, but dogs are DLC. I know somebody right now building a whole PC to run the Sims mods that they have on their world. I don't necessarily play it and I'm not exactly addicted to it, but I've definitely seen how it captures my friends and family. Another game that has taken the close friends and families of many around the country is the fabled, the infamous Fortnite. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, this game traps people. Some gamers, this is the only game that they play, and this is the only thing that they spend money on, even outside of games. I know that's a fact for some of the people watching this video right now. Remember when Fortnite just dropped? No, you don't, because it was the weird single player story thing. But then the Battle Royale dropped, and that was the definition of addictive. 100 players or 100 teams, whatever, and one comes out on top. It's just, sometimes things just write themselves. The gang had to work together to put their communication skills and their video game skills up to the heights of public opinion. The odds were so stacked against y'all, but at the same time, your drive to not go to sleep without a dub was just as high, if not higher. It made for some long summer nights and winter, spring, and fall nights too, especially because Epic added so many things to this game, from skins to cameos, live events, live concerts, all for this free-to-play cash cow. But we can't talk free-to-play addictive games without referencing the first free-to-play addictive game that came out in the summer of '84. Yeah, I'm talking about Tetris. They just snuck it in the box of your new Game Boy and hasn't been returned ever since. Unlike most games, Tetris is definitely not a game that is getting live service like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty. Tetris is Tetris and has been that way for 40 years. What you saw in 1984 is the same thing as you're gonna see in 2023, with the exception of like a save for later piece and a Dr. Mario spin-off. That speaks to the complex brilliance in a simple game like this, breaking language barriers, just fitting shapes together. And to be honest with you, a personal record has never been so achievable. First, you get 20,000, then it's 80,000, then it's 107,000. Next thing you know, you're competing online with everybody in your tri-state area. But what about a puzzle game where you compete with yourself and then also a handful of middle-aged people in your community? Yeah, I'm talking Candy Crush. You knew this one was coming. It's not exactly a console game, but the structure of Candy Crush has been used and malformed into a whole bunch of console games and mini games all around every single platform. I already knew this one was coming. I could do this whole segment in caveman sentences. No ads, full immersion, extremely satisfying, mobile masterminds, cannot stop. Again, just another game that builds on a beautiful premise, adding just enough so that every level, every couple of levels you get, it gets the gears turning. Get too deep in the matrix and it turns into a strategy game. And legend has it that no one's actually made to the true ending of the Candy Crush saga. So as we've seen how to make a game really addicting, a lot of the addicting games that are out there, like the Zeldas and all those other games, are genre-defining games, industry-defining games. That's what makes them addicting. The puzzles, the exploring, and everything else in Zelda makes it hard to put down. And when you do put it down, you're just thinking about picking it up the next time. Same thing we've seen with Tetris and Candy Crush and God of War, because that game was definitely addicting too. Developers can also make a game addicting by keeping it interesting. Keep adding in live services to keep the community up, because the games that are community driven, they're the ones that last like a decade. We've seen Sims has been around for nearly a decade. Minecraft has been around for over a decade. Same things with Roblox. Community driven games that add like mods and skins and they trade items back and forth in each other like it's RuneScape or something. Those games last the longest notoriously. A lot of the long lasting and addictive games have had great communities, modding communities. It just shows you how far a game can be taken if, the developers just allow the community to go and run with what they gave them. Show some extra love to your loyalist of customers. Another pattern to pick up on is that music can go a long way in making a game addicting. We all have an appreciation levels for the OSTs in Sonic or Bayonetta, but sometimes the lullaby music in Minecraft or the one-off piano riffs in Zelda is just enough to keep a gamer locked in for hours, subconsciously. This video was fun because I got to go back and look at some games that I remember loving to play and loving to talk about, and games that have very wide communities that are still alive to this day. Very rare to see. If you like this video, please hit that like button, please subscribe, and please check out the other videos. I have a lot of other videos just like this. If you like this, you are almost guaranteed to like most of my other content. I post shorts, I post videos, I'm gonna post live streams soon. I'm a live stream soon. I'm not gonna, I might, whatever. Let me know in the comments below about any addictive games that you guys got hooked on. But yeah, this is the Bread Show. You're leaving the Bread Show, but you don't have to leave the Bread Show because there's a whole lot more Bread Show where this came from. And peace out. Spread love in all you do, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Bread Show. Take 2.
Why is he? Man, we be on this here. We be on the other.